council meeting. If you please rise, pledge allegiance. They pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Well, thank you for coming tonight. The weather is beautiful out there, but glad we have some people in attendance. So, Lauren, you want to do a roll call?
Councilmember Wiley.
Present.
Councilmember Tradewell.
Here.
Mayor Rolfe.
Here.
Councilmember West.
Present.
Councilmember Gray Johnson.
Here.
All right, we are to announcements. Does anybody have any announcements? I have three. One, that black book in the back, that is our agenda, has everything that we have before us. You can also find it on our city website as well. Two, I know we decided a while back that Constitutional Week was the only proclamation that we were going to do. And honestly, I think we should kind of stick with that, only because next thing you know, we're doing one every week, and or we might forget about something important. But we did mention that we would note when there were other things going on. So one, the month of May is actually Building Safety Month. So I'd like to thank Rum River for the work that they do. And then this week, actually started yesterday, is National Police Week. And Police Week is to honor law enforcement officers that have been killed in the line of duty. So I just wanted to mention those two. Appreciate both for all their service. We are moving on to setting of the agenda. Do we have anything to add or delete?
Nope.
Motion to set the regular agenda.
Second. Motion by Councilmember West, second by, was that you, Wiley?
Yes.
Second by Councilmember Wiley. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We are to the public forum. If there's anyone here that would like to speak to us regarding an item that is not on the agenda, I'd ask for you to come up now. Anybody here to talk to us about an item not on the agenda? Okay, we'll move on from that. Approval of council minutes dated April 28th, 2026. Unless there's a question or concern, I look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
By Councilman White.
Wait.
Yeah, just one minor edit. There was a note for we're closing the office this Wednesday, May 13th for elections training, but the minutes said the 15th. So
That was in the minutes, or was it?
yeah, it wasn't.
Made the correction then.
Okay.
So we will correct that.
All right. Thank you. So we have a motion by Councilmember Wiley, a second by Councilmember Tradewell. Any other further discussion about that? No? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Acknowledge of Planning Commission minutes dated April 23rd, 2026. Looks like they had a lengthy agenda, talked about a lot of stuff. So we will accept those. Lieutenant Knotts, we're to you. Welcome. Knock on wood.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, City Staff, residents of Oak Grove, I am here to present the Sheriff's Office monthly stats for the month of April. For the month of April, we had 239 calls for service, and that breaks down into some of the categories as follows here. We had 1 burglary, 4 thefts, 3 assaults, 1 personal injury accident, 6 property damage accidents, 29 medicals, 9 animal complaints, 12 alarms, 2 felony arrests, 3 misdemeanor arrests, 1 DUI arrest, 1 drug arrest, 1 warrant arrest, 193 traffic stops, and 24 traffic arrests. And just to highlight a little bit of the activity occurring in April here. On April 1st, this was in the 3000 block of 195th Avenue. This is a driving while canceled driving violation. A deputy was on routine patrol, observed driving violations, and initiated a traffic stop. The driver pulled into a nearby driveway of a residence. The deputy pulled in behind him. The driver was identified and found to have a canceled driver's license and no valid insurance on the vehicle. The driver was cited and the vehicle was towed. It should be noted that the homeowner was contacted while the deputy was at the location and didn't know this individual either, so obviously trying to maybe elude the deputy a little bit by pulling into that driveway. On April 4th, this was at Flamingo and Viking Boulevard. This is a 4th-degree DWI arrest where a deputy was on a traffic stop. They had their emergency lights activated when another motorist nearly rear-ended that deputy. The deputy cleared that first traffic stop and initiated a traffic stop on that vehicle that nearly struck him. The driver did appear to be under the influence, so field sobriety tests were conducted. That driver was ultimately arrested and charged with 4th-degree DWI with a .134 BAC. On April 8th, this was in the 18100 block of Lake George Boulevard. This was a warrant arrest. A deputy was working routine patrol, located a vehicle being driven by a person with an active warrant. That driver was arrested, and the spouse was notified to come pick up that vehicle so it didn't have to be towed. On April 9th, this was in the 3200 block of Viking Boulevard, Bill Superette. This was a disorderly person's call. Deputies were called to Bill Superette on a disorderly female. Deputies spoke with the individual and advised them of store policy regarding a transaction that was attempted that the store was trying to work through with that patron. Rather than arrest, the individual was trespassed and requested to leave that establishment. On April 11th, this was in the 19600 block of Orchard Street. This was a vandalism where a mailbox was hit with a bat. Some suspects were caught on camera, believed to be some kids around the neighborhood. On April 22nd, this is in the 2000 block of Lake George Parkway. This was a theft of checks from a mailbox. These checks were ultimately washed and cashed on another transaction. And I'll just maybe mention that it's worthwhile that if you have the opportunity to take your mail, especially if you're mailing things like checks or other, sensitive materials, to go ahead and try and get those deposited into a blue U.S. Post mailbox would be beneficial to help deter crime. And then on April 23rd, this is in the 18300 block of Dahlia Street. This is a theft of copper and other scrapping materials from a private property. The suspects were located by a deputy driving around in the area. The deputy spoke with the individual. That person returned the property, did claim that they thought it was, for the taking, but that property was clearly marked private property. That individual was charged with theft and trespass from the property going forward. That's all I have to highlight for the council tonight. Is there anything that I may be able to answer for you this evening?
Anybody?
I don't have anything.
Easy night.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Lieutenant.
coming.
All right.
Nice
Have a
job.
good evening.
Good night.
Thank you.
You also.
I appreciate you. Have a good night.
All right, moving along here, we are to the consent agenda. Our city administrator is going to put several items on the screen there. We're going to vote on all of these in one motion, unless somebody on the council, staff, or a resident would like to pull an item. I would like to pull item C. Any other items?
Well, I'll make a motion to pass A, B, D, E, F, G, H, and I.
I'll second it.
All right, motion by Councilmember West, second by Councilmember Wiley. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All of those items have passed. If you're here for any of those, they have been approved. My question, and I don't know if the applicant is here for item C. I don't know if any of you guys
He's not here tonight, no.
So I support this business. I don't have any issues with it. My only concern, I don't even know if I want to call it a concern, but question, and maybe I should add the fire chief stick around, is when we're talking about the nitrogen and the liquid oxygen and so forth. they got this fancy book here that most of you probably never looked at. It's the Emergency Response Guidebook for spills, fires, things like that. And when I looked both these items up, clearly items like this are all over everyone's communities. It's not like we don't have any in Oak Grove. We have them driving through Oak Grove. We have them going on the train through the city daily. But when it talks about spills and cleanup, it says to prevent entry into waterways, sewers, basements, confined areas. Looking at Google Maps, it's kind of its own business out in the middle of nowhere there. But I don't know if a spill could, I don't know, cause an issue for either the applicant or neighboring businesses for their wells, depending upon the volume of a spill. When we're talking 3,000 gallons, it is a little concerning. I will support this. I just want to make sure that, the fire department has looked into this. It looks like they inspected, and the only thing that they noted is they would like the caged or the fenced-in areas locked, which I think is good. But I just want to. I'm going to support this, but again, what's the long-term issue if there was a big spill? Could that cause issues? Because they don't talk about wells in this fancy book. But that's really my only concern, if it's even a concern. And moving forward, too, it would just be nice to maybe have just a little bit more information from the fire department when it comes to, businesses and storage of stuff like this.
Yeah, no problem. The fire department has reviewed it for fire code, and they did sign off on it, but that is a requirement that they have to be okay with it. The building department's looked at it as well. There was a lengthy discussion at the planning commission during the public hearing with the applicant's representative and the planning commission. They didn't get in, I don't think they got into wells specifically, but they asked about if there was a spill and mitigation effort. So it was discussed extensively at the planning commission.
There's clearly things that are much worse.
Yeah.
But it's just something that I think sometimes when our old chair, Bill, was here, he was really on top of these types of things. I think a lot of us served on the planning commission with him when it came to this stuff.
They were all over it, but, and even the chief had said, I talked to him before we started our meeting, and he had said his concern was more about inside because the nitrogen can take oxygen out of a room. So in the close proximity, if they had a spill, you have to worry more about people not having oxygen to breathe. Typically, it's so cold that if it spilled, it would only penetrate the ground maybe 5 feet and freeze everything it comes in contact with. So its ability, and I guess most of it goes off as a gas vapor immediately. So you really don't have the potential of it penetrating very far at all. So my understanding was it's more about the inside ventilation and stuff like that that they're concerned about.
Right. It just turns into, if you go into it further and you start talking about it created a fire and now you have other chemicals coming within, then that's when it can get concerned about waterways and things like that. So
Oh, sure. And yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
it's kind of the worst case scenario, I guess is what I'm saying. But being that there are homes within, the 300 to 500 meter range, it's just something to think about. So with that, though, I'm going to just assume the fire department did what they should do, just based off experience, and I will make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-080, Item C.
I'll second it for you.
A second by Councilmember Tradewell. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Chuck, Consulting Engineer.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. I got a few items here to update you on. Your proclamations, Mr. Mayor, did remind me that I forgot to thank the clerks last week. That was Municipal Clerks Week.
See,
And-
that's what happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you for bringing that up.
Well, and then next week is Public Works Week. So aside, I did want to mention that we did, Public Works moved the stop sign on Raven Street
Saw that.
10 feet closer. That's as far as they could go without gas lines or moving over and affecting the visibility. So that'll allow us, for them to, we can reapproach neighbors to see, you know, if they'd be willing to consider our site triangle or, you know, something less now based on that new location. So we're gonna keep that moving along. So, there's that. Also, the county reached out. They want to have a open house for the roundabout project on 181st and Lake George Boulevard there on the 23rd of June, which is a Tuesday. And I said I thought that was okay, assuming that this room was available. So,
Any time indicated or?
no, my guess would be 5 to 7 or 6 to 8 or something like that. But notice will be forthcoming on
Good for
that.
me. Does it work for you guys?
Do you have a preference, I guess, on time? Yeah.
23rd June?
6, if 6 works for everyone, keep it consistent with what we're doing.
6 to 8 or something. Or?
Sure. I don't know how much time they need, but sure.
Well, they like to have a window, but I can't imagine there'll be too much foot traffic. There's not a lot of people down there.
Right.
And they'll also have another one for Andover.
Right. You guys good with that day at 6?
Yeah.
Mike? Sure. Okay.
Great. Some of you may have noticed that the 2026 street improvement project has started. They've pulled out and replaced some curb up in the ponds development. And we've been marking out other driveways that will be impacted and, you know, and answering resident questions as they come along. I can't remember if we talked about the Early Childhood Family Center or not, but basically what's going to happen there is, you know, we've provided we widened the shoulder. We have basically, you don't have enough length there to develop a turn lane per state aid standards, but we can widen the shoulder. And then Matt and I discussed, meeting with the school in August to talk about how they're queuing cars, because they educate their parents on how the drop off occurs within their parking lot. And so if they're going through that, we can work with them to have them use whatever that is, 190th, to, you know, if they do wrap and do enter Cedar, then they can turn the corner there and go down 191st as people queue up. Because it's quite the process. And apparently they queue it on the south side of their parking lot and then up and then around. And so, I don't know if there's any more questions on that.
Oh, Superintendent Anderson thanked us for at least considering it. I think he's probably used to cities just, ignoring it, so, but I told him it's just not gonna work out for us here, but he appreciated it.
And then, I guess that's it, unless there's questions for me.
The gentleman who was in a few meetings back, 221st Round Lake, I know we all kind of think had some ideas, or at least were interested to see if something could happen. Is anything happening there? I see like trees are coming down, but maybe he's taking his own trees down. But I know, you gonna put a temporary sign or something up there, or where are we at with that?
You know, Matt and I did meet with them and talk through it, and they seemed satisfied with our answers. I did talk to the county. You know, there really isn't, much for crash data up there. But
What?
What?
What do you mean there's not crash data?
They came to us and said it was the most dangerous intersection in all of Oak Grove.
221st and Lake George, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or Buzel's used to
they
be.
provided, there hasn't been any, well, I can get that data.
May want to revisit that. Take a look.
Yes. But no, we didn't think signing that was appropriate at this time.
And I know I missed a meeting, maybe you guys talked about it then, but what did we propose to the gentleman? Anything, or just,
No, we just heard them out. The county may have cleared out some trees after we talked to them. So
I see there's a lot happening there, but I don't know if that's his doing or the county.
that might be the fiber or something being installed as well.
Maybe that too, I don't know,
So-
but, okay.
We are meeting with the county next week. We can revisit that, but they did follow up with some crash data, and I'll provide that to you. thought I may have mentioned that at the last meeting, but
Now, I do remember he had said the way they're calculating it now is different than they were before, and the new calculations don't show it as a problem, whereas the old calculations showed it as a terrible intersection because they use different criteria.
yes, thank you for that.
That's
You know,
what it was.
Yes.
they're not required to, and Mr. Mayor, you might know more about this than the rest of us, but law enforcement doesn't have to do all the, report all the fender benders and everything else like they had done years prior. And so it's difficult sometimes to have that documentation when there's facility grants and things like that.
Yeah, literally, unless the car is towed or a serious injury or worse, you don't have to do the state report anymore. So that is going to, you saw the fender
Oh,
benders, it's
significantly,
not gonna
yeah.
count.
It's on the reporting, remember, we had that a couple years ago with our amount of, deals with the sheriff's office. Oh, they mysteriously went and, changed their way of calculating everything, so the numbers are way off.
This one, though, is the state one, though. I'm sure the county adopted the same thing, probably, but.
Yeah. Because I'm sure there's plenty of paperwork to be done, so.
Oh, yeah. All right, anybody else, or anyone have anything else for Chuck?
Oh, and I guess Cedar Drive, I can mention that they're looking at later in the summer, July, August, to start that work.
Hopefully before school starts.
That's that's the intent and the
Perfect.
deadline.
Perfect. All right,
Thanks, Chuck.
thanks.
Thank you.
All right, city administrator updates and discussion items. Number one is code enforcement. I don't know if you have anything to add, Lauren, or just the report.
The only thing I have to add is we talked a little bit about this at the last meeting. Try to pull this up here. The council had asked how many properties have had administrative citations kind of maxed out. So there's been 3 properties that were issued administrative citations and they did not bring it into compliance. So after 30 days, we sent them an invoice for the fines due. So there's been 3 so far, and none of them have paid those fines yet. So those will be certified at the end of the year to the property taxes if they don't pay them before that.
And they have full understanding of that, right? I mean, it's in the verbiage at least.
Yeah, so the letters that Rum River sends out, goes through that process and the fine amounts, and there's usually at least one more letter that's sent out after that. Sometimes there's an additional one, so it's documented in all the letters that go to them. Our invoice that we send them as well after Rum River's handed it over to us also explains that they will be certified to the property taxes if they're not paid.
I'm speaking for myself here. Maybe others agree, maybe you don't, but I think we've come a long way with kind of the way we're trying to do things here. But I will say, a few years back, I kind of talked about the top 10 worst ones in the city, that I'm all in favor of stepping up to the next level for some of these. Not the person, it's the first time and maybe they weren't aware, but there's a few of these properties in the city I feel like we've been talking about for years and like nothing is happening. Yet I'm sure you guys too receive phone calls from people like, is anything ever going to happen here? We're paying Rum River $70 an hour or whatever to do this. And I'm just looking at, again, I want to be very clear. I'm not talking about all the properties that have some minor things and it's the first time the city's ever talked to them. But the problem ones that we've been talking about for years, what the next step is, I guess we got to figure that out, but it's not fair to some of the neighbors when they've got a junkyard next door. So I support, again, those few select ones to, up the pressure a little bit.
I would totally agree. I get the same people calling me, they've been calling me for years. Right down the road off Nightingale Street, there's a couple issues down there that have been going on. I don't know how long it's been going on. And I think we're giving way too much time for people to come into compliance, and you get there and nothing's done or very little's done, or the people that say, "Oh, I can't get it because it's wintertime, it's cold out," but they seem to manage to haul the stuff in when it's wintertime. So I think we need to step up the game a little on these severe properties.
Right. All right, any other comments about code enforcement stuff? Okay, hearing none. Item B.
Item B is Resolution 2026-085, awarding contract for low-voltage data cabling for the City Hall Fire Station with an interested officer. That interested officer is Councilmember West, who is Principal in Integrated Protection Systems. The city did get 3 quotes for network data cabling, low-voltage network data cabling for the new building. And they range from $29,386.44 on the low end to $35,841.67 on the high end. So staff does recommend going with the lowest quote received for that. Of course, Councilmember West will have to abstain from that vote.
So I just have a couple questions, Lauren. I don't have any problem supporting that, but I just want to be transparent with our community too. John had the lowest bid by, it looks like $4,000 thereabouts. Was he ever provided what the other estimates were? I mean, so he knows who the other people that put bids in. Was he made aware of any of that?
Nope, all that was done independently. They all quoted off of the same set of plans.
Okay. And I know we've done some business with Councilmember West for a while now. Any concerns about doing more?
No. Councilmember West Company's been providing these types of services to the city for probably close to 9-10 years now at this point. Good service provider.
Well, before we vote on it, I would support it. I mean, I think it would be silly just because he's on the council to have residents pay $4,000 more just to not give it to the lowest bid. But as long as things were done properly, I support that. Does anybody else have any other comments before I call
Yeah, I
for the
do.
vote here? Yes, sir.
I'd just like to say, I agree with you 100%. Councilmember West has been doing services for the city for a long time. He's always had the best interests of the city and the taxpayers. And it seems like to just go off and find somebody else for this, even if they were just a little bit cheaper, I'd still like, well, he's doing all the other parts of the low voltage. Why wouldn't we just keep him on board with it and stuff? So I'm going to support it also.
And I'm on the building committee with him, and there's things that he points out that, just being in the business, that, it would be foolish, like you said, so I fully support it.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilmember Wiley, second by Councilmember Bray Johnson. Is there any further discussion? I think our attorney wants to do a roll call vote on this particular item. I thought you'd said.
Yep, just do a roll call vote.
All right, so we have no further discussion, so go ahead there, Lauren.
Councilmember Wiley,
Yes, in favor.
Councilmember Tradewell,
Yes, in favor.
Mayor Rolfe,
Yes. In favor.
Councilmember Bray Johnson,
Yes, in favor.
Councilmember West,
Abstain.
I started a trend.
All right, motion
Like the same
passes
motion,
4-0 to 1, with Councilmember West abstaining from the vote. Well, thanks again, John. It's nice when we can save the taxpayers some money here and get good quality work too.
Well, it is my pleasure, and I would like to say, as a point, that the reason that IPS is winning these projects is we are cutting to the bone to make sure that we get the best deal in the city. We have saved the city on these projects, probably close to, $100,000. That's a big chunk off the bottom line. So, and it's my pleasure to do so. So I will continue to do so. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other updates?
just a couple items. One, getting back to the code enforcement stuff, some of those ones that are the ones that have not paid, those are gonna have to come back to the council for direction on how you wanna proceed with those. So you kinda have two options, the criminal route, which we've done with limited success in the past, or the civil route, which is that abatement process, which there are a couple that are in the abatement process too, some of the worst ones. So that unfortunately is a slow process as well, but they're, especially the one on 22730 Cedar Drive, that search warrant was executed again, I think, last week. So the abatement process will start to escalate for that one. That is one of the worst ones in the city as well.
Right. And I know all that strong language that people don't want to hear, but again, we're talking about worst of the worst in the city, not somebody who's got a few little issues that's working with the city to get the problem resolved, so.
And I think 2 of the 3 that we have that would be certified in the property taxes are 2 of the worst ones as well.
Right.
So those will be coming
Yeah.
back to you here in the near future.
Okay.
I believe the next council meeting is June 8th, Monday, June 8th. So we will do a work session ahead of that meeting with Rum River. So they'll be coming back with, you know, the items that we discussed at the last meeting. Do you prefer a 5 or 5:30 or something in between start time for that work
I think we
session?
can get it done in 30 minutes.
I say we shoot for 30 minutes, because then it's done, right? They'll have to move along.
I would say longer, but
I know he's coming with what we have to do, what
Right.
options, and so
Well,
he should hopefully be prepared.
Yeah, we
They
don't
bring
have
the
to-
summary of the summary, right?
Yep.
So,
Did I use that one the next day at work?
did you?
The summary of the summary.
Catchy.
You know, speaking of that, you guys, I asked Lauren, about how many permits or fees are on that schedule that are suggested. Rather, because that's where he, you know, said last time. So I believe Lauren was gonna pass that on to find out, you know, what's on there that's suggested and what is by statute. So,
the only thing about this stuff by statute, we've been told that before from his company, and he was telling us that there was state law that he made it sound like it was required, but the state has never come to us and talked to us about any of this stuff. And every city out there is different. So if everybody's found the state law, why is everybody different on what they charge for different fees and stuff? So I even question that, or how much enforcement there would be on that. I mean, if they came here and they gave us an order, hey, the mayor's gonna go to jail or something, you know,
Throw 'em in
after a few
jail.
days, we would go along with it and get them back out. But
Thanks, Mike.
The-
a lot of people don't make that reference, probably that's been threatened before.
Is there any way to have a city that has their own inspection take a look at that and just go, it's in line or it's way out of line? I mean,
Well, like Mike said, they're all different.
I would just like to get a what would you call that, a barometer?
Like the fee schedule from other cities, and you know, they might have it
Yeah.
worded a little different, but at least kind of.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean,
well, yeah.
because you
I-
might look at it and go, okay, they're not being ridiculous, or you might go, they're being this. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So
Well, look at decks. Speaking of decks, I know that the fee for decks is going down. I did talk to Lauren about that as well, about potentially approving that portion, just because I know. But if we're gonna be approving this soon,
I think,
people are gonna wanna be building decks, and they're not gonna wanna, I don't want even if they're not building that big of a deck, I don't want them to pay what the current fee is for a deck. It's ridiculous.
Like 650
so,
bucks.
yeah, I think what he was proposing was a maximum fee for decks. We already have
Exactly.
maximum fees for accessory buildings and I think finished basements.
Yeah.
And he was proposing one for decks. There was at least one particular one last year that got to be pretty high.
Yeah.
It was a substantial
It's kind of what started.
substantial size deck and valuation, which is what drove that up,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
Well, that valuation is a real problem too with today's inflation and housing and everything.
Exactly.
People forget that when a house costs $400,000 to build, not coming to your land and stuff, all of a sudden the valuations start getting bigger and bigger, which means more money out of
Well,
people's.
if I'm using treated wood versus Trex, there's a big valuation
Right,
difference there,
exactly. Huge.
right? I'm protecting it against fire and longevity, but I'm going to get raped.
Now
on
we're going
it.
to charge you a lot more for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
because it's a money grab.
Because right now, those fees are in existence.
Yep.
But,
I kind of almost feel like he's going to do it's an all or nothing kind of thing, but I guess we'll find out. But I know some of this comments maybe you can share with them and.
Yeah, I'll share
some
all this
answers
feedback with
as well.
him. I don't recall if it was in the packet, but in the past, what he has done, so you can see some of that comparison, he has shown what other cities charge for the same permit. So I know he's compared our neighbors in the past. Ham Lake, Ramsey, now then St. Francis, Andover. So
Makes
I
you
can
want to
talk
call and
him
call the
about
other
that.
cities that he didn't call.
Right.
the ones he doesn't represent.
All right, anything else, Lauren?
I think he represents a couple, well, a few of those anyways.
yeah, they do. Yeah.
Just a reminder that this Wednesday, May 13th, we will be closing the office for elections training for staff, county elections training.
Anything else?
Building committee meeting next Wednesday.
And we have one tomorrow, a meeting.
Not a building committee meeting, but Councilmember Tradewell and Councilmember West and myself are going to be meeting with the AV broadcast vendor, Z Systems, who did our current system, to look at the system they're proposing, both for the council chambers, but also for the conference rooms, EOC, and the rest of the building tomorrow. So that proposal will probably come to the council at the June 8th meeting, pending review of us tomorrow.
Yep. Great. Anything, Mike?
I got some. What?
Come back to you. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
That's awesome.
Trade.
Oh my lord. Hey, Lauren, did we have any update from the Lake George access? You know, we were going to try to get the line straight, put some posts in, this, that, and the other. And I know that the neighbors are very happy with what's not happening anymore. But as far as I knew, we are not done with what we want to do.
No, we're gonna mark the lines. One thing I need to do before we probably do that is send the letter to the landowner, letting him know we're doing that, and that it appears there's some encroachments. And I need to do that for another property on Lake George as well that Matt brought to my attention today. There's one further up on Lake George Drive that has put a shed on city property
Oh no.
to their parcel. And they have a bunch of trees marked for removal too, so I'll be addressing that one too. I'll address them both at the same time.
All right, that was my only question.
I'm glad you brought that up. I think it's a priority of ours to get that done. Nice, like I say, those 6x6 posts along
Yep.
the edges, and it
Cemented
protects their
in.
property,
Yep.
and we know what ours is. So.
Well, it's one of those things. We were asked, we did, but now we're going to do it. We're going to be fair about it, and we're going to do it and do it the right way, so that it protects them in the future.
And just because the problem is solved now doesn't mean it'll be solved this summer or next year.
No.
It's,
Or it could be a different problem. I've got a couple.
Yes, sir.
One, the Upper Rum River. You want to talk about the pontoon ride, or I can.
Yeah.
So council is invited to join the Upper Rum River watershed and some lake district people to go for a pontoon ride, learn a little bit about the lake, learn a little bit about what we do, water clarity, things like that. That's June 1st. I think Lauren will send out an invite for you guys if you want to do that. I will not be attending. I will be in Texas at a business thing. So Paul will be leading the charge on that deal. Hopefully.
Dan.
Oh, Dan. Okay. Yeah,
Right.
Dan will.
He's VP.
Yeah, if he
Doesn't
shows
fall to me till after Dan's not there.
So it's a good experience. I highly recommend it. I mean, you live on the lake, you probably, but there's some good information, and there'll be food served. So,
Lake George or what?
yeah, Lake George.
thanks.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
When is it?
June 1st, I think around 6 or something, 5. I don't know.
5:30ish,
Lauren will send it out.
It's a Monday, so basically 3 weeks from tonight.
but not on a council meeting.
Not
Off,
a council
off of
meeting,
a council.
nope.
Right.
Just let me know if you're going to attend, because I will just post it if we're gonna have more than a quorum.
Okay.
Sounds like John won't be there,
Right.
so,
I'll probably go,
okay.
Yeah.
even though I live on the lake and I'm on the lake all the time.
So it'll be you show up at the boat ramp and jump on some local pontoons there and go for it's about an hour and a half tour talking about the lake and water clarity and what we do. So
I think it's actually start to finish, but they said like 45 minutes
Yeah.
out on the water, so you're not
exactly.
won't have to worry about a bathroom break.
Hopefully it'll be nice.
Yeah. I think
The second thing I had was we just had our annual meeting for the Upper Rum. Elections took place. Nothing's changed. Paul's still the treasurer. Dan Bryan's the VP, and I'm still the chair. So that's all I had for tonight. Just wanted to keep you up to date on that. Oh, and we are jumping right into the 10-year plan. We are moving forward with sending out invitations for bidders for the Upper Rum. So we are ahead of schedule. We don't have to do that till 27, but we want to get a jump on it so it'll be done. So anyway, that's it.
Angie, anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank our fire department as well as the local fire departments in the area. There's been a few pretty major fires lately. I know one in Ramsey, and then the other one in St. Francis. And our firefighters had just gone through, the one in St. Francis was a home and also the headquarters of a cat rescue. And our firefighters had just gone through some training with animals, which actually saved quite a few of the cats' lives. So it was an electrical fire. So all the mutual aid that's been happening lately in these I mean, the one in Ramsey, there was a lot of wind that day and the fire spread pretty fast. So I just wanted to thank our fire for what they do in the surrounding communities. And that's all I had tonight.
You
That's
tricked
it. Just one thing.
The only thing that I have is on February 9th, we came up with what was kind of our, goals or what direction we wanted city staff to move forward on with priorities for 2026. And we're a few months in here already. Some of it I see that we've made some headway on. We figured out the pickleball court situation, so that's good. I just want to just bring it up. I'm not going to go item by item. Everybody has the list, but I just want to continue to stay on this to try to, do work on as much of this week as we can before the end of the year. But, a couple of the items that I just don't want us to forget about, and Laura and I have talked, and I know he's not going to forget, and we've talked about it here, but our fire chief is not staying forever. I'm thinking we're going to have him for at least 4 months based off last week's vote.
Right.
We're still working on the comp plan, but for me, one of my priorities again for the year is the budget. And, we had a couple big levy increase years for the building and so on and so forth, but I think we're more back to where we were. So, again, just bringing it up to make sure that we're staying on the list, more or less direction to Lauren. He's doing a good job, but I don't want to forget about what we're trying to do here. So that's really about that. So unless anybody else has anything, our next regular scheduled meeting will be Monday, June 8th at 6 p.m. We're having a work session at 5:30 with Rum River.
And that's because we will not have the one over Memorial Day weekend
Yes, thank you.
at the end of the month.
Thank you.
Yep.
So I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Councilmember Bray Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Wiley. I'll add further discussion on this. As mayor of the city for my 4th year, this is my shortest meeting. So,
Not bad.
all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
All right.
Motion passes 4-1. Well, thank you for coming tonight.